Grind is a global organisation. Chapters are run all around the world. There's over 600 now. So there's about 2.5 million people have been to a Startup Grind event in the last 12 months that are on the mailing list. So myself, Andy Lamb, I run the Perth chapter with Danny, who ran a Italian chapter, and I always want to say Turin, but it never is. But he's also co-director here now as well, which is cool. So it helps us out. We've got some big plans for next year, which is cool as well. I know there's a bunch of people that have been to one of these before, and there's also a bunch of people that are new faces. So it's really exciting to meet you for the first time. As we said before, this couldn't happen today without WeWork. So we just want to give a massive shout out again for the people that pulled all of that together. The format is a fireside chat. So, and it's appropriate that it's fireside with shit the bed. Nice and hot sauce. I met Renae probably about a month ago.
I reckon we met a long time ago.
We might have done. Yeah. And so, you know, the part of Startup Grind, it's all about really interesting stories for different people. So, am I on track, Danny? No, that's good. Yeah. What's the next slide? Renae. Brilliant. We've done that. What's the next slide? We're done. We don't have any more slides. So that's all cool. So, have you got enough beer?
It's coming.
Okay, cool.
From someone.
Anyone else? It's all casual. All right. So without further ado, can I please introduce Renae Bunster from Bunsters. What's your official company called?
Bunsters.
Just Bunsters?
We were Bunsters hot sauce, but we're going to move into other products, and then we just became Bunsters.
We'll get to that later on. All right, so put your hands together for Renae Bunster, please.
Thank you.
People's stories normally start long before their original business. Yeah. So what was your story kind of coming through school and then out of school, and what did you do and what did you fall into? I
went to school in the 90s, back when education was, pretty crap, and all I was told was get a good job by my dad and all of the old people. So I went and started studying computer science. I lasted a month. I got my brother, who was a computer programmer, to do my first assignment. And I was like, oh, yeah, I could continue like this for 4 years, but then eventually not know how to do the job. And then I realised I should actually be studying something that I'm interested in. So I went into TV and radio. I got into Whopper.
Yep.
And went from there and started enjoying my life.
And so when you got into TV and radio, what form did that take?
So I got into Whopper and learnt how to be a newsreader, writer for radio and TV. And then after uni, I became a newsreader on radio. And then after that, I realised there weren't many opportunities in Perth. So I moved to London. And my first job in London was working for Reuters International TV.
So why London?
Because I actually thought, all right, I could give up my whole life. Like, look at this place. I could give up all my friends, my easy life. I actually thought at the age of 22 or 23, life here is so easy and so nice. Am I going to give up all of this for Sydney, or am I going to give it all up for London and what London has to offer? And I went for London, and the career that I ended up having, it was worth it.
So what did you end up doing?
Well, I was freelance. So this is where I looking back, I realised that I had the entrepreneurial spirit because I never took a job. I never had a full-time job. I was always freelance. I always wanted to work for myself. If I didn't like somewhere, I would just politely stop working there and go and get work somewhere else. And so I was always my own boss. And that's how that started.
So you mentioned something there about, that entrepreneurial kind of spirit, and you never really took a job. Mm-hmm. Was that evident, like, even as you were going through school?
No. Back at school, it was the 90s. It was just study hard, do your TE, and go to uni, and you'll get a good job. And I ended up going to Whopper, which wasn't proper uni. It was the School of Song and Dance. I met Todd from Neighbours in the cafeteria one day. That was the best thing. He sold me a ticket to the Sleaze Ball. That was the kind of uni I went to.
I got nothing after that.
Yeah. We used to go to raves you put on, Andy. Sorry. No. Jurgen will edit it out. It's fine. Yeah. Jurgen used to work on my stalls. Yeah.
So you turned up in London,
Yeah.
right? Freelancing.
Yep.
What was it about London that you really enjoyed? What were you looking for beyond, I guess, Perth?
Yeah, sorry, you got to keep reminding me.
It's all right.
What we were talking about. I just wanted an interesting job. And so I ended up probably working my dream job, which was traveling to tennis tournaments and doing one-on-one interviews like this, except front on with Rafael Nadal. One time, I actually had to touch knees with Marat Safin because there was such little space, but it was orcs because he's a bit intense and he's just huge. But I used to do one-on-one interviews only with the winners. Losers, no, only with the winners. And I would get flown all over the world in economy class, but I would stay in the 5-star hotels with the players. I would eat breakfast with the players. I'd go to the tournament on the bus with the players. I would eat lunch in the players' lounge and just be like, good luck in the match, Rafa. You know, like, he used to kiss me all the time. When I say all the time, like just once per tournament, pretty much. By the second day, he was like, yeah, we did that yesterday. I was on a first-name basis with Serena. She was like, hi, Renae. You know, she was... But
Do you love tennis?
yes. And
Did you love it before?
Yes.
So it was all about passion and drive and...
Do you know what it actually was? It was like, I realised it was a law of attraction thing. I used to watch Wimbledon and I'd see how much fun the people in the players' box were having. I just think, oh, I want to do that. They're having so much fun. They're having way more fun than everyone else. And once you've paid £100 for a seat to Wimbledon and just sat like up here in the shit seats, you know, I just really wanted to sit in those seats. And it wasn't until one day I actually found myself sitting in a player's box in Moscow next to Dinara Safina and so Marat's sister and his mum. And we were all just going, yeah, we're all going for Marat Safin because we didn't want Nikolai Davydenko to win. I was having so much fun that I just stopped and realised, oh, this is actually that thing that I wished for a few years ago. So I think that was one of the things I realised, wow, this power of attraction, law of attraction thing works.
So you said something really interesting there. It's what I wished for. But do you think it's more than that? Do you think it's something that subconsciously you worked really hard for? So you saw an opportunity and you worked at it?
Nah, it literally fell out of the sky. Yeah. Nah, sitting at Reuters one day and Lucy comes over to me and says, hello. And Lucy she was in control of the sport desk that day and she was never in control of the sport desk. And she's like, oh, no, I got this email. She's Kiwi. They don't really talk about it. Got this email from these Germans and it just said, we are looking for, you know, someone who is like 27-ish, speaks English, likes tennis, wants to travel, you know, best job in the world, basically. And I just fit this bill. I can speak English. There's so many jobs that I was passed up for because of my inability to speak another language or my Australian accent. And they're like, we don't care, you know, just speak English good because we don't. And sent this guy an email. Within 2 weeks, the next 3 days later, I was in the Russian embassy getting a
Stamp?
the thingy. And
visa?
Yeah. And then I was in Moscow a week later. And that's when I realised that's one of the lessons that you learn in being an entrepreneur. People have to like you. And so I made sure that these Germans liked me and we went out and we drank shots of vodka. But we had a ball the whole week and then I kept getting booked. And then that's how the dream job starts.
Yeah. So how long did you do that for?
That was sporadic. So I'd stay in London and then I'd just get a phone call. I go, hey, come here.
So it was per tournament?
Yeah, per
kind
tournament.
of thing?
Yeah.
And were you doing anything else besides that? Were you kind of sitting there thinking about other things or?
Just working full-time at whatever came up. So in London, all these places like Reuters, the Associated Press, CNN, BBC, ITV, GMTV, Newsround at the BBC. Are you a POM?
Long time ago.
Yeah. These things ring a bell?
Yep.
With
Big
you?
Breakfast.
Oh, that ended just as I got there. Yeah. I worked at all these shows.
And so when you were going through that, how long were you in travelling around, kissing tennis players?
Rafa.
Being the really good English-speaking person that you are?
English real good from 2006 till I left 2011.
Okay. And then did you come back here?
Yeah. Well, we had a sojourn. So when we left London for 3 to 4 months, we travelled around Mexico and Central America, and that's when I fell in love with hot sauce.
Ah.
And then I got back to Perth and I ran out and bought all of the hot sauces at all the IGAs and the chili festivals and everything like that.
Yep.
And they were all just 20 different versions of Tabasco. And that's when I came home, made a batch of hot sauce, and I made too much and I gave it away to friends. Some of the friends in this room, and they said, this is the best hot sauce I've ever eaten. I demand to buy it off you, Renae.
Demand.
I demand. Actually, I forced them to buy it.
Okay, that's all right. As long as there was a demand going one way, doesn't really matter.
And that's probably one of the tips that I'd give entrepreneurs. If you give your product away to people and then they come back and ask to buy it, if you can get your tight ass mates to buy something, you've probably got a business on your hands. You know?
So how did you go about just going, I've had this hot sauce and I've fallen in love with this hot sauce in Mexico, and you come back here and go, these are all crap. They're just like Tabasco with other bits and pieces of it. How'd you get a recipe?
I was thinking about it the whole time I was travelling.
Okay.
So you keep going, what were you thinking about? While I was travelling through Mexico and Central America, just sitting there like this, drinking a margarita every day, I was thinking about what I would put in a hot sauce. I had the recipe down by pretty much the first time.
Did you borrow it from other hot sauces that were over there?
No, just ingredients. I'd just see ingredients and just like Marie Sharp's in Belize, first ingredient, carrots.
Yeah.
And then that one had tomatoes and that one had coriander. And so I was like, oh, but it needs more of this. Chefs, foodie people do this. You eat stuff and you just think about other things you wish were in there.
Yeah. So was it your first recipe?
It's about the second or third go.
So iteration?
Yeah, third iteration,
Yep, cool.
I pretty much nailed it.
Lean startup?
Totally.
Yep. Bag of carrots?
Yep.
Kitchen stove?
Oh, yep. 8 litre pot, kitchen, labels from Quick Copy in Osborne Park. Hi, Denise.
I love it. Product placement. It's great.
She's done it. I remember everyone.
And so when you kind of cooked it up, who was the brave soul that was going in first?
So what do you mean?
Was it you?
Going in first.
Well, who was trying it?
Oh, me? Yeah, but it wasn't hot. So I started out and I made the sauce. So the current weakest sauce I have is 7 out of 10. That used to be the hottest. And it used to be called Bloody Hot. So embarrassed. And then they just got weaker from there. And until I made one called Piss Weak, which was a 1 out of 10, which is probably the only commercial failure I've had that I will put my hand up to. Like, people who like hot sauce don't want to eat one called Piss Weak. And I don't think anyone wants to eat any product that has piss in the name of it.
As opposed to shit.
As shit they loved. The shit one they loved. And then so I'd made hot sauce for 3 years and that were quite edible. And then 3 years in, I made one that I thought no one would be able to eat it. And I called it Shit the Bed.
So that's like that chili thing, right? You get into it and then all of a sudden you go, I've got to have a hotter one. You got to have a hotter one and a hotter one and a hotter one.
Blows up. It's just like meth. Yeah. Just, you know, smoke it, next minute, you know. I cracked so many meth jokes. Sorry. Poo, penises, and meth jokes. That's all you're going to get on my social media. Sorry.
So,
why don't you ask how I've been noticed on social media?
No, I'm getting to that bit.
Right.
I'm getting to that bit.
You've got to get noticed.
This is more about the product. So you've got your product, right? And I guess this is about your journey, right? So you've got your product, and then you go, my mates are coming back and getting it. So then what do you think?
Oh, well, it wasn't just that. Yeah. So we're going to the chili festival. We're starting to build up customers online. But it's like anyone, when you start a business, you get this first influx of customers and that's all your friends and family. And then it stops and then it goes down. And then you realise, oh, shit, I've got to find customers my own way somehow. And that's where my TV experience came into it. And that's when I started cracking jokes, making videos, getting in front of the camera. I've been going after the click since 2004. Reuters was the first news agency or news outlet in the world to put news video online. We beat the BBC to it, and we used to put things up that would get clicks. And they'd put up a car bombing in Iraq and be like, how come no one clicked on that? And then I'd put up a story about the world's smallest horse, and it would get a billion clicks, and they'd be like, no, let's stick with the car bombs. And I'm like, no, come on, we've got to be doing the fun stuff that people want to click on. So I've had that kind of embedded into my DNA since 2004, that people want to be entertained, they want to be distracted.
Okay. So I remember, which is weird, Chili Festival, right? And I remember down in Fremantle and a stall, which I'm sure was yours, because I came and I went, there's a 12 out of 10 like hot sauce.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I was like, I've got to have some of this. And I remember like cruising around there, just trying all these other ones and then having a dip of the 12 out of 10 and just going, yeah, that's for me, right? Because it's an addictive thing. Yeah. So how much product did you used to sell through the stalls and those kind of things? Because that would have been your primary focus in the market space at that time.
Well, I started out, this wasn't my full-time job. I did lots of different things, and the hot sauce was always a hobby. So it was able to organically grow up and build. And it was when we went to the Chili Festival in 2013 that I made 12 grand in a weekend, just mucking around, inviting down people like Jürgen. Oh, can you just come help me on the stall? And we made 12 grand in a weekend, and they didn't get paid. They just got drunk and had a good time.
That's why he's come back to get paid now.
Oh, really? And that it was when I made 12 grand in a weekend. That was like, okay. And then we had this rush of sales through friends and family, but it wasn't until Shit the Bed came along in late 2014 that we were given a very clear indication by the public that that's the one we want. And the amount of emails we got from America saying, I want to buy that sauce, I want to buy that sauce. So we were kind of pulled to America. And that's why the year after we ran a crowdfunding campaign and went viral, went crazy, business started.
Yep.
Didn't end up in debt. Didn't end up rich, didn't end up in debt.
That's cool. That's cool. And so what are some of the issues that when you go from this kind of hobby, right, to where you get to the point where you put a product out with a label or with a product name of Shit the Bed, right, and all of a sudden it goes gangbusters, what happens, I guess, in your psyche and your process of, I need to keep doing this?
Oh, well.
Where do you start? Because there's a lot of plates you can spin.
Yeah.
Right? You go off the stove, putting it in a bottle, going down to the Chili Festival. All of a sudden now it's like, this could be serious.
This is the difference between men and women.
Yeah.
Not every man and woman, but in our household, is that my husband was, working down here on the terrace, working pole dancing for a mining company. And when he saw me make all of this money that Christmas, he was like, this is my chance to get off this pole. And he said, let's run a crowdfunding campaign. Let's make as much of this sauce as we can and sell as much of it to America. And I'm like, oh, but I like my 30-litre pot. I like getting chili in my eyes. I like packaging up the boxes and taking them to the post office. And I like being crap. And he's like, no, we can go, I've done an MBA. I've got to pay this MBA off. And so I think it was at the point where we said, all right, we've got to do this. And you take that financial risk. So we ran around the house and we sold everything that we had and that we could get rid of rather than the roof over our heads. So for me, it was my Porsche. For both of us, it was we had an online children's book. We had a personalised children's book business where people could just log on and make this awesome book. We sold that to the printers. We sold all this stuff in our house that wasn't nailed down to get as much money together so that Andrew didn't have to go back to work and we could run this crowdfunding campaign for a year. And that's the risk. As every entrepreneur knows, it's not until you got to risk it to win the
biscuit.
Donut. Biscuit.
With chili sauce on it.
Biscuit, donut. And so once we took that risk, then there was no going back.
Yeah.
It's like, I've lost a really nice car over this. We got to win.
But like you said, I think there's a lot of people out there that have ideas and they keep plodding along and they never really take that risk. It's when you put the money down. Yeah. It's once you throw the money down, you're like, there's no going back. Yeah, we're in. Yeah. And so one of the things I love, right? So, product branding. So you've got a great name, right? I'm guessing you had a traditional chili bottle at the time. Just like that. Yep. So how do you make it stand out when you've got this?
Okay, well, this is what the crowdfunding campaign was. So I always knew that I wanted to stand out. I always knew that in order to stand out, you had to stand out. So you can't just have another bottle of chili sauce like that on the shelf next to all the other bottles of beer. So I decided that we were the champagne of hot sauce, so I needed a champagne bottle. So that's what the crowdfunding campaign was. We needed to earn enough money from the crowd to fund this distinctive Dom Perignon champagne bottle, and that would stand out. And it has. And everyone said, don't do that. You'll take up too much space on the supermarket shelves. The supermarkets will get pissed off. They won't stock it. Quite the opposite. It's different. It catches the eye. People pay more money for it. Champagne. So champagne's quite nice and elegant and different.
What were your other ideas before the nice, elegant champagne bottle?
Gee, it seems like you've done some research here. So we'd been planning to stand out from the crowd for a while, and we wanted a custom-made bottle. And at many evenings like this, where we were down the pub, like, oh, what do you think of this? And this is when we need the picture here. The one we'd got the CAD model made up. We were all ready to launch our crowdfunding campaign. And it was a grenade. It was a grenade-shaped bottle with this, and we were going to have to do it in plastic. It was a piece of crap, but we thought it was brilliant. And just before we went to launch the crowdfunding campaign, we ran it past a few branding and marketing bigwigs. You know, if I had have known people at Juicebox, I would have gone and spoken to them, but and they all just said, this is a piece of crap and it's going to fail, like a grenade bottle. And now I look at the hot sauce market and there's about 10 different grenade bottles. It was not original, but there's no hot sauce in a champagne bottle. So
which is really interesting, right? Because your positioning is you know your customer segment really, really well.
Now I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is predominantly blokes.
Yeah, blokes. Oh, yeah. I know who my customer is.
Right.
He's 28 years old. His name's Dave. He's a tradie. He's single. He gets to spend all his money on himself. And he loves a poo joke. Yeah. Loves a dick joke. Loves a dick meme. Loves dude food. Sausages, simple cooking.
Yep.
Doesn't get many vegetables in his diet, so he needs my hot sauce to get his vegetables.
In a champagne bottle.
In a champagne bottle, he treats himself. Yeah. Treat myself. A couple of those blokes are here tonight.
Yeah. So you've got your sauce, you've got your champagne bottle. You kind of know your market at this stage as well, which you know better now.
Oh,
right?
after the yeah.
So America, Amazon.
Oh yes.
Goes mental.
Yep.
Goes viral, like all the cool kids say.
Yeah.
What led up to that, do you think? What were the mechanics of it?
Again, we had to risk it to take the biscuit, and we had to spend all this money to pay for all this sauce and just send it off. Just send it like Pablo Escobar sending that first shipment of cocaine. Will they like it? I don't know. Worked out well for him. So we did the same thing with our hot sauce, and we got it over there, and we sort of missed the first Christmas because it just takes so long. And these are the mistakes that we've made, that we learned that, it actually takes a while to get things through customers and then on the shelves. But then by 2017, it was all sitting there ready to go. And all it took was something to go viral. And to get to the top of, so Amazon never a discount the Amazon rankings, because people Americans, there's so many of them, they go, I want to buy hot sauce. And then the hot sauce list comes up and they're like, oh, that one says shit to bad. But if you're not in that top 10, they'll never see it. But the minute that you get up here, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's what happened to us. And that's what happened to us. And it happened just before this time of year, which is Black Friday, Christmas sales. Yep. And then once you get swept into that vortex, happy days.
So it was, so you made all this product, got it to America, got it through customs, got it on Amazon, sold out.
Oh.
Then what happened?
Every bloody Christmas from 2017, 2018, not this year, because we've got so much sauce. But it happened in Australia 2014, and then 2015 with the crowdfunding campaign, and probably 2016. This has been our issue, is that the demand always outstrips our supply, because we've been working off of our own finances, which is not the finances of really generous investors.
Yeah.
Which is why we're raising funds.
Yep.
now.
Yep. That's cool. So is it a Christmas thing? Is that so you know your customer segment?
Yeah.
Is it really Christmas?
That's
where
where
it goes gangbusters and then everyone goes, I've got enough for the year.
No. That's where everybody buys it as a gift.
Okay.
So I don't know if you buy gifts for men, but men get gifts.
Yeah, usually comes in a box and there's 24 things on it and you've got a bow on the outside of it. And you go, I got this on the way here for you. Useful, what my dad calls a useful present.
Yeah,
right.
Socks. So everyone's sick of giving their dad socks or undies, this pops up on their feed on Instagram or Facebook, and they go, "I'm going to buy Dad a hot sauce called Shit the Bed," and that's why we do really well. But then all of these dads and brothers and uncles and cousins and all the men who get this as a gift or get to try it on the Christmas dinner table say, I want more of that. And then after Christmas, our sales just always, our sales were here. And then after the next Christmas, they're here. And then, we pick up all these new customers and we retain them.
So that's really interesting that it doesn't drop off. So the sauce must be good then.
Yeah. Someone's going to win half a bottle of it tonight.
Did you only bring one bottle?
I've got a little bag. I only brought a little bag. Sorry. I should have.
Did you bring any of the fancy stuff that I got at the last event? The chocolate?
No.
The cacao?
Oh, my posh barbecue sauce. It's only 1 out of 10 and it's got cacao and truffle. Did you eat it?
I've eaten it.
Oh, shit. We should have said something.
I've eaten it.
I emailed you 20 times today.
I know.
You should have said.
Along with everybody else.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. It's been a tough day for Andy. It's been a tough day.
No, it's all right.
Shit. I'll send you some.
That's all right. Thank you. So I'm curious of how all these things kind of stack up, right? The storytelling, the drive, where you're in Mexico thinking about something, taking a risk. Because, it's kind of like 10 years later. 10 years? 8 years?
Nah, 2012.
So 7 years.
If you think.
Yeah.
If you think that adds up, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so. Is anyone better at maths than me? 2012, 7? Yep. It's almost like, do you ever feel you're getting off the hamster wheel? Like, what are you doing now, right, to get you to the next stage? I know you mentioned that you were raising some money, right, to help you get that. But what are you doing kind of from that systems and process and business, and how are you turning into that? Because you can't,
constantly.
You can't go back to what you were doing before, right?
No, I'm not going back to TV. Yeah. No. It's more my husband that I threaten to send him back to the mining companies. And whenever he has a little bit of a hissy fit of like, what after Christmas, what if we don't do it this Christmas? I'm like, it never ends. When are you going to realise it never ends? It ends with you going back on the pole, pulling out the D-string, going back down to Woodside and slut dropping at Woodside. It never ends. And this is what I realised. I'm so fortunate that I have a business where if I stopped making my sauce, could you imagine if I stopped making Shit the Bed? Where's Craig gone? If I stopped making Shit the Bed, you'd find out where I lived, wouldn't you? And you would come down and you would just throw rocks at my window until I started making it again.
Get that stove going again.
Yeah. We're at the point of no return.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever loved a product and they just stopped making it. I can't think in my lifetime where that's ever happened, because with a product like food, a company would come in and buy us.
Yeah, when you get to that point.
And that's what we're working towards.
Yeah. So what are some of the challenges you've had with the supermarkets and people stocking the product here? So online is great, know your target market, Amazon, all good, tick, 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 tell the story, got the brand. What about getting it into the more traditional stores?
The independent stores and butchers love it. They love it. They love the word shit because they go, there's no way Coles and Woolies are going to stock this. Let's buy 1 million of these. And it brings people into their stores, and it's butchers that you wouldn't normally go to. You'd go buy the meat in Coles and Woolies, but if you know that, I want to get that hot sauce from the butchers, so they know it brings people into their stores. And Coles and Woolies, we've never actually had conversations with them because we just know they're going to go, nah. And also, but they could sell the posh barbecue sauce that you've recently become addicted to, I believe, and the 7 out of 10 sauce, they could sell that quite well. We're just not ready to deal with them yet.
Is that because of product line that you haven't got, or
Capital.
okay?
You know, they've got 1,000 stores for Woolworths. You've got to sell a certain amount every week.
Yeah.
And they don't pay you for a certain amount of time. So we need some more money.
Okay.
And we're taking on investors for these very purposes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. So how did you, because you're in IGA, so you through Metcash and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So how did that happen then? So Coles and Woolies are another, the big end of town are another thing.
So distributors.
Yeah.
So we took on one awesome, it was so hard to get distributors because they just thought we were a joke product. They were just like, it's just a product that has shit on the label. No one's going to buy that. And so these fantastic distributors in Perth took us on and started getting us in IGAs around Perth. And they would come back to us shocked, like, oh, we just got it in 10 shops today. It's like, yeah, because people in Perth know, but they've heard about it, they've seen it. And the real breakthrough for us was in 2018 when we got on the American chicken wing chat show where the celebrities eat the chicken wings. We got a big distributor in the East Coast who's taken us on. And that's when our store count went from 100, 200 to up to 600, 700.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's powering up.
So how do you make that much sauce now?
Factory. That's not me. So it used to be me making 200 bottles at a time, and now there's a factory. It's called contract filling. You go there, you just pay for the factory for the time you need, and they're top notch.
Yep.
Good peeps.
Good stuff. Get the recipe right.
They do. Yes. Yes. We get the recipe right. And then we make sure that someone there is getting the recipe right as well.
So you're making sure you're looking after that product.
Oh, absolutely.
All the way through.
Yeah, because we stuffed up. Yeah. Are you getting at the fact that we stuffed up earlier? No. The first time I ever went to cook Black Label, which was meant to be twice as hot as Shit the Bed, cooked it all, bottled it up, just this 2,000 bottles, and I tasted it and I was like, this tastes exactly like Shit the Bed, slightly hotter. And we'd basically made Shit the Bed 25% hotter, but labelled it as Black Label. And my husband said, let's just chuck them in the bin. I said, no, this is good sauce. This is sauce people would kill for. So that's where my impish sense of humour came in, and I just sort of thought about it for ages and thought, let's just call it Brown Label. And we made these ridiculous labels. We put poo font. We put all these stupid jokes on it with like 25% more poo giving power and all. And I used my TV background and I made this horrible video. Like remember those red dot kind of.
Yep.
Yeah. Come on down now and buy this crappy sauce. I made a video like that. It went positively viral for Facebook, and we sold all these bottles of sauce.
Which was going to be a throwaway.
Which we were going to chuck away. I would never have let it happen, but. Yeah, we actually made money out of it.
So one of the things that you keep talking about is really the power of the brand. Yeah. And also I think the power of the story that comes through from you underneath that brand as well, so it's authentic. So how do you, what's a couple of things that you could say to other people that are trying to build a brand around a physical product that they're trying to get out there as well?
Or even service. Get yourself in front of the camera. Even if you don't have fantastic low rent editing skills like I had, put yourself in front of the camera and show people who you are and the struggles that you're having. And that's pretty much what I did. I just said, it was a factory fuck up special. We made a mistake. And even all the mistakes that people saw happening through the crowdfunding campaign, just show people the struggles you're going through and be funny.
Try to be funny.
Be funny.
Be funny.
Yeah, if you're not, I don't know.
So what does the future look like? Right? So you've got to this point, 7 years in. Yeah. You've had some screw-ups.
Yeah.
Right? That you've rescued. Right? You have these hurdles where you make or you get money in, you make, you cook, you sell, all these kind of things, choppy. What's the future look like, do you think? So roll forward another 3 or 4 years, what's it look like?
Massive exit for all of our investors. Woo! Not totally exiting, just having some kind of event. So we're taking on investors now and just doubling and doubling and doubling. That's what our profit's been doing. Yeah. Profit turnover has been doing. Just keep going up and having an event so 3 to 5 years time. not 3, sorry, 5 to 7 years' time, there's an event where we will take on someone else on board who's going to take us under their wing and help us get to the next level. Food, it's, you know, you can't just blow up in food unless you've invented something new, you know, like cannabinoid products. They are going to blow up, but, you know, with hot sauces or just general food companies.
You just keep doing it and keep
going,
doing it.
Just keep going, winning over new people, moving into new markets, and a few new products that I haven't made yet.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about.
Okay. All right. Chili related?
No, probably not. Probably not.
So diversification.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so who are the other big, so on that diversification, who are the other big chili markets around the world? Given that you know your customer segment, where else could you attack, do you think?
Who else likes to eat chili? America bloody loves it.
Yeah.
The UK loves it.
Yep.
There's a few people in Europe who like it. Japan loves it. Canada. We're about to open up Amazon Canada. They've been waiting a very long time. But I think India. I mean, we all know they like spicy food.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll pay the equivalent of $18 for a bottle of hot sauce. China as well, but that won't be on Amazon. That will be on some other platform.
Yep.
So yeah,
so there's lots of things you can do to keep the journey going.
Yeah.
So as you're going through that, if there was, people love lists, right? What are the top 3 things, words of advice and wisdom and everything else that you've got from your journey that you could offer people?
All right. Don't invest too much money in something unless you know that people actually want it, that people are actually going to buy it. If you know you're a bit of an ADD person, don't do it. Don't do it, because you're going to get distracted by the next shiny thing that comes along. And if you have a brain that's like a beach ball full of bees, that's just bouncing in all different directions, just don't do it. You've got to have just single-minded focus and just stay on the one track. The amount of people who've said, oh, you guys should make salsas. Oh, you guys should make this. You should make that. You should make... We've had 50 billion different people tell us to do something, and we've just kept going in the one direction, which is hot sauce, and that's why we've ended up where we are.
Yep. So laser-like focus.
Yeah. Just got to keep going in the same direction.
That's 1.
Yeah.
Number 2. What else you got?
Oh, God, I thought that was 3 different ones then.
I've just grouped them up into 1.
Oh, that was 3.
Have you got anything about telling stories?
Social media is free. Do social media well. Get in front of the camera. Get in front of the camera and show people your journey, as I said before. And number 3, God, this is hard. Number 3 would be find other people in your sort of brand genre niche, see what they're doing well, and emulate what they're doing. So there were a couple of other people in the sort of offensive humour, toilet humour, dude humour space, and I saw them getting great reactions, and so I ripped off what they were doing, but brought it back to what I'm doing. Never if you run a bridal dress shop, don't start cracking poo jokes and dick memes because it worked for Bunsters. You've got to know your audience and your brand. Is that 3?
I'll let you off with that 3.
So much hard work.
Well, what do you think? You were going to turn up, bring a bottle of sauce in, get a slice of pizza and a beer, and you didn't have to work for it.
3.
That's 3. So what? This is always with the benefit of hindsight. What advice would you give yourself going back to when you set off with your suitcase to London?
To London?
Yeah.
I would have said, anyone who looks like Andy Lamb. His name's Hugo. No, I would have said keep milking Reuters till the titty runs dry, because it's the best paid place in all of London. It's true. It was true. Like Reuters it was the first job I got, and it was the best job that I got. And I would have said that. I would have said, don't bother with CNN. Don't bother with CNN.
Start making sources earlier.
Yeah, well, no, just learn as much as you can. I would have actually said get into web, move away from TV and get into web and learn as many internet-based skills as possible, because when I went over there, we were editing on tape. We were using tape when I got there by the time. And my first job was working at Reuters on the war in Iraq. The last job that I had when I left was working for the Big Pictures paparazzi agency for Darren Lyons, you know, the guy with the fucking
Mayor of Geelong.
Mayor of Geelong. Working on, you know, Lindsay Lohan getting out of the car, chucking like total non-news. And I got to see just the whole news cycle change in my career. So I would have said to myself in the beginning, start learning how to capitalise on the crud, you know, and learn the skills to get clicks.
Yeah.
Learn the skills to get clicks, and you will get on, be one of the first people on Instagram. I could have 1 billion followers by now.
Are you on TikTok?
I've heard. I put 3 videos up the other day, got 22 likes.
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's it.
I might keep going.
Yeah. Cool. All right. With all of that, can you put your hands together for Renae, please? Thank you. Well done.